Why are the humans sending just one ship? The question echoed through the corridors of power across the galaxy, a mix of confusion, concern, and curiosity rippling through alien diplomatic circles. The United Earth Federation's decision to dispatch a single vessel on a critical mission to the Binar homeworld had set the interstellar community abuzz with speculation. The starship Defiant stood in Earth's orbital shipyard, a testament to human ingenuity and determination. Its sleek lines and advanced technology represented the pinnacle of human achievement in space exploration. As final preparations were made for launch, Marcus Cooper strode through the ship's corridors, his footsteps echoing with purpose. Cooper, a seasoned diplomat and former military strategist, had been handpicked to captain the Defiant and serve as Earth's primary representative. The weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders as he considered the complexities of the 6-month journey ahead. The mission's success or failure could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. As the Defiant broke free from Earth's gravitational embrace, Cooper immersed himself in studying Binar culture and physiology. He pored over reports detailing their binary-based communication and symbiotic relationship with technology. The more he learned, the more he realized the delicate nature of the upcoming negotiations. Months passed, and the Defiant entered the outer reaches of Binar space. The crew's tension was palpable as they navigated the unfamiliar star systems. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected an anomaly, an unidentified vessel drifting in the void. Cooper's instincts kicked in as a distress signal pierced the silence. The source, a small Binar craft. Despite vehement protests from his security team about potential risks, Cooper made the controversial decision to investigate. The Defiant altered course, its powerful engines propelling it toward the mysterious vessel. Leading a boarding party, Cooper stepped into the alien craft. The air was thick with an acrid smell, and emergency lights cast eerie shadows. In the control room, they found a lone Binar, her binary partner nowhere in sight. The alien, later identified as Ceres, was in severe physical and psychological distress. Cooper's decision was swift but weighed heavily on him. He ordered Ceres to be brought aboard the Defiant for medical treatment, knowing full well it violated protocol and could complicate the impending diplomatic negotiations. As Ceres recovered in the medical bay, Cooper spent time with her, gleaning invaluable insights into Binar culture. An unexpected bond formed between the human captain and the Binar fugitive. Cooper found himself captivated by Ceres' unique perspective and the intricacies of her species' interconnected existence. However, their growing connection was overshadowed by a looming crisis. The Binar government, upon learning of the Defiant's unscheduled detour, demanded an immediate explanation. They labeled Ceres a criminal fugitive, her rescue an act of interference in Binar affairs. The diplomatic mission, once filled with promise, now teetered on the brink of disaster. As the Defiant resumed its course to the Binar homeworld, Cooper faced an impossible dilemma. He had to balance his duty as Earth's representative with his moral obligation to Ceres and his growing understanding of the complexities of Binar society. The ship carried not only an unauthorized passenger, but also the potential for interstellar conflict. With each passing moment, the stakes grew higher. Cooper knew that his actions in the coming days would determine not only the fate of Earth-Binar relations, but also the future of Ceres, and possibly the entire Binar civilization. The true test of humanity's diplomacy, compassion, and resolve was about to begin. The Defiant's engines hummed as it approached the Binar homeworld, a gleaming orb of interconnected cities and data networks. Captain Marcus Cooper stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the screen, acutely aware of the rising tension among his crew. Cooper nodded, following Hawkins to a quiet corner of the bridge. The commander's voice was low but urgent. "Sir, the crew is on edge. Ceres' presence has complicated our mission beyond measure. We're risking an interstellar incident." Cooper's face hardened. "I understand your concerns, Jack, but Ceres could be the key to understanding the Binars on a deeper level. We can't ignore that potential." Cooper strode to the center of the bridge, his mind racing. "Open a channel." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the stern visage of a Binar official. Intricate cybernetic implants line their face, pulsing with data streams. This is Chief Counselor Zax of the Binar High Council. Starship Defiant, you will surrender the fugitive Ceres immediately or face severe consequences. A tense moment passed as Zax considered the offer. Finally, they nodded. Agreed, but under our conditions. Our security detail will accompany me, and Ceres must be confined during our meeting. Understood, Cooper replied, his mind already formulating strategies. As preparations for the meeting began, Cooper made his way to the medical bay. Ceres sat on a biobed, her binary implants gleaming under the harsh lights. She looked up as Cooper entered, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and gratitude. "Captain," she said, her voice a melodic blend of organic speech and synthesized tones. "I sense the anxiety of your crew. My presence endangers your mission." Cooper sat beside her. "Ceres, I need to know everything. Why are they so adamant about your return?" Ceres's implants flickered as she processed the question. "I am what they call a singularity, Captain. A binar capable of independent function without a binary partner. This is unprecedented in our society. The High Council sees it as a threat to our way of life." "That is the question at the heart of this conflict," Ceres replied. "The Council fears change. They attempted to reprogram me, to force me into a binary pairing. I resisted." As they took their seats, Cooper could feel the tension in the room, thick enough to cut with a knife. Zax wasted no time with pleasantries. "Captain Cooper, we demand the immediate extradition of the criminal Ceres. She has violated the fundamental laws of our society." Cooper leaned forward, his hands clasped on the table. "Chief Counselor, I understand your position. However, I believe there's an opportunity here for both our peoples. Ceres' condition as a singularity could offer invaluable insights into binar physiology and culture. I propose a joint research initiative, studying this phenomenon for the benefit of both our species." The negotiations continued, each side presenting arguments and counterarguments. Cooper drew on all his diplomatic experience, carefully navigating the complex web of binar politics and cultural sensitivities. Suddenly, Commander Hawkins burst into the room, his face pale. "Captain, we've detected an energy surge from one of the binar ships. It matches the signature of an EM pulse weapon." Cooper's mind raced, analyzing the situation in split seconds. The pulse could disable the Defiant systems and potentially harm Ceres due to her cybernetic implants. There was no time for deliberation. The reaction from the binar delegation was immediate and hostile. Zax shot to his feet, implants flashing furiously. "This is an act of aggression. You dare to threaten us on your own ship?" Alarms blared throughout the Defiant as the crew scrambled to battle stations. Cooper stood firm, his gaze locked with Zax's. "We detected a weapon signature from your fleet, Counselor. I'm protecting my ship and crew, including Ceres." The conference room had become a powder keg, with armed binar security forces tensed for action and Defiant crew members poised to defend their captain. Cooper knew he was walking a razor's edge between diplomacy and open conflict. "Chief Counselor," Cooper said, his voice calm but resolute, "we stand at a crossroads. The actions we take in the next few moments will shape the future of human-binar relations. I urge you to consider the bigger picture. Ceres represents an evolutionary step for your people. Instead of fearing it, why not embrace it?" Zax's eyes narrowed, data streams flowing rapidly across their implants as they processed Cooper's words. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with the threat of interstellar war looming over them all. In the tense silence that followed, Cooper could hear the hum of the Defiant's shields and the rapid breathing of those around him. He had made his stand, protecting Ceres and championing the cause of progress. Now he waited for the binar response, knowing that his next actions would determine the course of history. The tension in the room was palpable as Cooper waited for Zax's response. In that moment, Cooper made a decision that would alter the course of human-binar relations. He took a deep breath and spoke, his voice steady and clear. "Chief Counselor Zax, I propose we take a step back and approach this situation from a different angle." Without waiting for a response, Cooper tapped his communicator. "Bridge, Lower our shields." The command was met with a chorus of shocked gasps from both his crew and the Binar delegation. Commander Hawkins stepped forward, his face a mask of disbelief. "Captain, I must object." Cooper raised a hand, silencing his second-in-command. Sometimes trust must be given to be received. He turned back to Zax, whose cybernetic implants were pulsing rapidly, processing this unexpected turn of events. "Chief Counselor," Cooper continued, "I'm willing to allow you and a small team to meet with Ceres under supervised conditions. In return, I ask that you deactivate your electromagnetic pulse weapon. Let's move this discussion from one of conflict to one of understanding." Zax's eyes narrowed, data streams flowing across their implants as they considered Cooper's offer. After what seemed like an eternity, the Binar leader nodded slowly. "Your proposal is logical. We accept these terms." As the Binar warship powered down its weapon, a tense calm settled over the Defiant. Cooper led Zax, binary pair 0101, and two Binar security officers through the ship's corridors towards the medical bay. The captain couldn't help but notice the nervous glances exchanged by his crew as they passed. Upon entering the medical bay, Cooper immediately sensed Ceres' distress. Her implants flickered erratically, and her organic eye widened at the sight of her fellow Binars. Dr. Alara Chen, the ship's chief medical officer, stood protectively at Ceres' side. "Ceres," Cooper said gently, "Chief Counselor Zax and his delegation have agreed to hear your side of the story. Please, tell them what you told me." Ceres' gaze flicked between Cooper and Zax before she began speaking, her voice a blend of organic and synthetic tones. "I am a singularity, capable of functioning independently without a binary partner. But this wasn't by choice. I was created in a secret facility, part of an experiment to enhance Binar capabilities." As Ceres continued her story, detailing the unethical treatment of singularities and their forced recoding, Cooper watched the reactions of the Binar delegation. Zax's face remained impassive, but binary pair 0101 showed signs of agitation, their implants pulsing more rapidly. When Ceres finished, Zax spoke, their voice cold and dismissive. "These are clearly the ravings of a malfunctioning individual. Her code is corrupt, her memories unreliable." To everyone's surprise, it was binary pair 0101 who broke ranks. "Counselor, we cannot dismiss these claims so easily. The facility Ceres speaks of, it exists." The medical bay erupted into chaos. Zax rounded on OA101, accusing them of treason, while Cooper's crew looked on in shock at this new revelation. Cooper raised his voice above the din. "Enough!" As silence fell, Cooper addressed the room. "We stand at a crossroads, not just between our two species, but between progress and stagnation. I propose a joint human-Binar investigation into the treatment of singularities. The findings will be shared openly with both our peoples." Zax's implants flashed rapidly, a sign of internal conflict. "You ask too much, Captain. This is an internal Binar matter." "With all due respect, Counselor," Cooper countered, "it became an interstellar matter the moment we rescued Ceres. Transparency here could lead to a stronger, more trusting relationship between our species." As Zax hesitated, Cooper pressed his advantage. "Ceres will remain aboard the Defiant as a neutral party. We'll host representatives from both sides to ensure her safety and prevent any interference." Before Zax could respond, Lieutenant Chen's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, urgent message from Earth. The United Earth Federation is ordering us to abort the mission and return immediately." Cooper felt the weight of command settle heavily on his shoulders. He knew that his next decision would have far-reaching consequences for not only this mission, but potentially for the future of human-Binar relations. As he contemplated his options, Cooper became acutely aware of Ceres' presence. He realized, with a mixture of surprise and concern, that his feelings for her had grown beyond mere diplomatic interest. This unexpected emotional entanglement added another layer of complexity to an already challenging situation. Commander Hawkins approached, his voice low. "Captain, we should follow orders and return to Earth. This situation is spiraling out of control." Cooper was about to respond when the ship's alarms blared. Lieutenant Chen's voice rang out again. Multiple unidentified ships entering the system, Captain. The Defiant hung in space, surrounded by Binar warships, with unknown vessels approaching. As Cooper prepared to give his next order, he knew that whatever choice he made would set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy. The future of two civilizations, and perhaps many more, rested on his next words. Captain Marcus Cooper took a deep breath, his mind racing as he processed the information flooding in from all sides. The weight of command pressed down on him, but he knew what he had to do. "Lieutenant Chen, open a ship-wide channel," he ordered, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. As the comm system chirped to life, Cooper addressed his crew. "This is the captain speaking. We've received orders from Earth to abort our mission and return immediately. However, I believe our work here is far from finished. The situation with the Binars and the singularity issue is too important to abandon. Therefore, I've made the decision to remain here and see this through. I understand if any of you object, but I believe this is the right course of action." Commander Hawkins stepped forward, his face a mask of concern. "Captain, I must strongly object. Disobeying direct orders from Earth could have severe consequences for all of us." Cooper nodded, acknowledging his first officer's valid point. "I understand your concerns, Commander, but sometimes we must follow our conscience, even when it conflicts with our orders. The potential for a lasting peace between humans and Binars is worth the risk." Before Hawkins could respond, Lieutenant Chen's voice cut through the tension. "Captain, the unidentified ships are hailing us." The image that appeared was unexpected. A Binar, but unlike any Cooper had seen before. Their implants were sleeker, more integrated, and their organic eyes shone with an intensity that spoke of a fierce intelligence. "I am Zeta," the Binar announced, their voice a harmonious blend of organic and synthetic tones. "Leader of the Free Singularity Movement. We come seeking asylum and offering vital information about the Binar government's oppression of singularities." Cooper felt Chief Counselor Zax stiffen beside him. "This is an outrage," Zax exclaimed. "These are criminals and terrorists. Captain Cooper, I demand you reject their request and turn them over to us immediately." Ignoring Zax for the moment, Cooper addressed Zeta. "We're in a delicate situation here, Zeta. Your arrival complicates matters further. However, I'm willing to hear you out. I propose you and a small delegation board the Defiant to discuss this further." Zax's implants flashed rapidly in agitation. "You cannot be serious, Captain. Allowing these rebels aboard your ship is a direct threat to our negotiations." Cooper turned to face the Binar counselor. "With all due respect, Counselor Zax, this is my ship, and if we're to get to the truth of this situation, we need to hear all sides. I give you my word that security measures will be in place." As Zeta's shuttle docked with the Defiant, Cooper organized a meeting in the ship's conference room. Security teams were posted at strategic locations, their presence a silent reminder of the tension permeating the ship. Zeta entered the room flanked by two other singularities, their appearance causing a stir among the Binar delegation. Cooper noticed binary pair 001 exchange meaningful glances, their implants pulsing in what he now recognized as a sign of internal conflict. "Thank you for agreeing to meet, Captain Cooper," Zeta began, producing a data crystal. "This contains irrefutable evidence of the Binar government's systematic oppression of singularities, secret facilities, forced reintegration procedures, memory wipes. It's all here." As the data was transferred to the Defiant's computers, Dr. Elena Rodriguez entered the room, her face etched with concern. "Captain, I need to speak with you urgently," she said in a low voice. Cooper excused himself and stepped aside with the doctor. "What is it, Elena?" "It's Ceres," Rodriguez replied, her voice tinged with worry. "Her condition is deteriorating rapidly. The prolonged separation from Binar technology is causing severe stress on her systems. We need to find a way to stabilize her, and soon." The captain's heart sank at the news. He had grown fond of Ceres, perhaps more than he cared to admit. "Do whatever you can, Doctor. I'll wrap this up as quickly as possible and come see her." Returning to the meeting, Cooper found the atmosphere had grown even more tense. Zax was on his feet, implants flashing furiously as he faced off against Zeta. Zeta remained calm, their gaze steady. "The evidence speaks for itself, Counselor. Your government's actions are not only unethical, but a violation of sentient rights. Cooper stepped in, raising his hands for silence. Enough. We're not going to willpower this by shouting at each other. I propose we convene an emergency council, representatives from Earth, the Binar government, and the Free Singularity movement. We'll lay all the evidence on the table and work towards a peaceful resolution. As the room erupted into a cacophony of arguments and counter-arguments, Cooper's communicator chirped. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen's voice came through, tinged with urgency. "Long-range sensors have detected a massive Binar fleet entering the system. They'll be here within hours." Cooper's mind raced. The situation was spiraling out of control faster than he could have imagined. He needed to act quickly to prevent an all-out war. "Listen to me, all of you," Cooper said, his voice cutting through the chaos. "A Binar battle fleet is on its way. If we don't reach some kind of agreement before they arrive, I fear the consequences will be dire for all of us. I'm convening the emergency council immediately. We have precious little time to find a peaceful solution." As the various factions begrudgingly agreed to Cooper's proposal, the captain couldn't shake the feeling that he was standing on the precipice of a momentous event in galactic history. The decisions made in the next few hours would shape the future of human-Binar relations and potentially the fate of an entire society. With tenacity in his steps, Cooper headed towards the medical bay to check on Ceres before the council began. He knew that the challenges ahead were immense, but he was committed to seeing this through, no matter the consequences. Marcus strode into the conference room, his face a mask of purpose. The air crackled with tension as representatives from Earth, the Binar government, and the rebel faction took their seats around the table. Zax's implants pulsed rapidly, while Zeta's organic eye darted between the assembled delegates. "We have limited time," Marcus began, his voice steady despite the pressure. "Our goal is to reach a peaceful resolution before—" The door burst open, and Dr. Rodriguez rushed in, her face pale. "Captain, it's Ceres. Her condition has deteriorated significantly. She needs immediate access to advanced Binar technology to survive." Dr. Rodriguez shook her head. "Without access to Binar technology, I'm not sure we can stabilize her." Marcus's gaze fell on the experimental quantum entanglement device in the corner of the medical bay. An idea, dangerous and unprecedented, formed in his mind. "What if we use the QED to link Ceres directly with the Defiance computer systems?" he proposed. "It could bypass her need for a binary partner." Dr. Rodriguez's eyes widened. "Captain, that's never been done before. The risks—" "I'm aware of the risks," Marcus cut in, "but it might be our only chance to save her." He returned to the conference room, where the delegates waited impatiently. Marcus laid out his plan, watching the reactions ripple across the room. Zax shot to his feet, implants flashing furiously. "This is an outrage! You cannot merge Binar and human technology in this manner. It violates our most sacred laws." Zeta, however, leaned forward with interest. "This could prove that singularities can thrive independently. I support this plan." As the arguments escalated, Marcus's communicator chirped. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen's voice came through, "the Binar fleet has entered the system. Multiple ships are powering up weapons." Marcus's stomach dropped. He turned to the delegates, his voice firm. "We're out of time. I'm proceeding with the procedure." Ignoring Zax's protests, Marcus returned to the medical bay. Dr. Rodriguez and her team had already begun the delicate process of connecting Ceres to the QED. The ship shuddered as the first warning shots from the Binar fleet streaked past. Marcus gripped the edge of the biobed, willing the procedure to succeed. Suddenly the door slid open, and Commander Hawkins entered, his face grim. "Captain Cooper, I have orders from the United Earth Federation to relieve you of command." Marcus straightened, shock giving way to anger. "On what grounds?" "Emotional compromise and violation of direct orders," Hawkins replied, his hand resting on his phaser. "I'm sorry, Marcus, but I have to do this." "John," he said, using Hawkins's first name, "think about what you're doing. We're on the brink of something momentous here. If we back down now, we could lose our only chance at lasting peace." Hawkins's dedication wavered visibly. "Marcus, A gasp from Dr. Rodriguez interrupted them. "Captain, something's happening!" They turned to see Sirius's body arch off the biobed, her implants glowing brightly. The ship's computer screens flickered, lines of code racing across them faster than the human eye could follow. "She's accessing our databases," Lieutenant Chen's voice came over the comm. "And, sir, she's tapped into the Binar ship's systems as well." Marcus watched in awe as Sirius's consciousness expanded, merging with the Defiance AI. Her eyes snapped open, glowing with an otherworldly light. "I understand now," she said, her voice resonating with newfound power. "I see everything." Before anyone could respond, Sirius initiated a broadcast. Her message echoed through every ship in the system, revealing hidden truths about the Binar government's treatment of singularities and exposing long-buried secrets about human-Binar first contact. On the bridge, chaos erupted as communications channels exploded with chatter. The incoming Binar fleet, led by Admiral Xor, slowed its approach, clearly thrown into disarray by the revelations. Marcus rushed to the bridge, Hawkins close behind, their earlier confrontation momentarily forgotten in the face of this new development. "Status report," Marcus barked as he entered. "The Binar fleet has ceased their advance," Chen reported. "The rebel ships are moving to defensive positions around us." Marcus took in the scene on the interface. Binar ships hanging motionless in space, rebel vessels forming a protective barrier around the Defiant. He could almost feel the shock waves of Sirius's revelations rippling through the assembled fleets. "Open a channel to Admiral Xor," he ordered. The Binar admiral's face appeared on screen, his expression a mixture of shock and anger. "Captain Cooper, what have you done?" Marcus met the admiral's gaze steadily. "What needed to be done, Admiral? The truth is out now. We have a chance to start over, to build something better." As Xor struggled to respond, Marcus became acutely aware of the fragility of the moment. The next few minutes would determine the course of human-Binar relations for generations to come. He turned to his crew, feeling the weight of command settle on his shoulders once more. "Prepare for any eventuality," he instructed, "but let's hope it doesn't come to that." With Sirius's consciousness now intertwined with the Defiance systems, the ship had become more than just a vessel. It was the focal point of an interstellar crisis. Marcus knew that his next actions would shape the future of both human and Binar civilizations. As he prepared to address the assembled fleets, Marcus caught sight of his reflection in a darkened console. The man staring back at him looked older, wearier, but there was a fire in his eyes that spoke of unwavering willpower. He took a deep breath, straightened his uniform, and stepped forward. The fate of two species hung in the balance, and Captain Marcus Cooper was determined to see this through to the end. The weight of the moment pressed down on Marcus as he surveyed the tense standoff on the monitor. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen's voice cut through the silence, "multiple targeting systems are locking onto us from the Binar fleet." Marcus's mind raced. They needed time to stabilize Ceres, time to negotiate, time to prevent an interstellar war. His eyes fell on a flashing indicator on his command console, and a daring plan formed in his mind. "Initiate cloaking sequence," he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the decision. "Sir?" Chen's surprise was evident. "The cloaking device is still experimental. We haven't—" "Do it, Lieutenant," Marcus cut him off. "It's our only option." Chen's fingers flew over his console, the bridge lights dimmed, and a low hum reverberated through the ship as the Defiant vanished from sensors. In the sudden calm, Marcus turned to face his crew. Their expressions ranged from confusion to fear, with more than a few accusatory glances directed his way. He knew he had to act fast to prevent the situation from unraveling further. "I know many of you have doubts," he began, his voice carrying across the bridge, "about our mission, about my decisions, about the future of human-Binar relations. But I want you to understand something." He paused, meeting each crew member's gaze in turn. "What we're doing here isn't just about preventing a war or saving a single life. It's about shaping the future of two civilizations. It's about proving that we can overcome our differences, that we can evolve beyond our limitations." As he spoke, Marcus noticed a shift in the atmosphere. The tension began to ease, replaced by a sense of purpose. Even Commander Hawkins, who had been ready to relieve him of duty moments ago, seemed to be reconsidering his position. "I can't promise you it will be easy," Marcus continued, "but I can promise you that what we do here today will echo through history. We have a chance to build bridges where others see only walls, to create understanding where there is fear and mistrust." He turned to Hawkins, extending his hand. "I need all of you with me, not just as my crew, but as partners in this endeavor. What do you say, Commander?" Hawkins hesitated for a moment, then grasped Marcus's hand firmly. "I'm with you, Captain. We all are." A chorus of affirmations rang out across the bridge, the crew rallying behind their captain's words. The moment was interrupted by Dr. Rodriguez's voice over the comm. "Captain, you need to see this. Ceres, she's evolving." Marcus rushed to the medical bay, leaving Hawkins in command of the bridge. He arrived to find Ceres surrounded by a holographic display of swirling data streams, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "She's unlocked hidden subroutines in the ship's AI," Dr. Rodriguez explained, her voice filled with awe. "The Defiant's capabilities are expanding exponentially." Ceres turned to Marcus, her voice resonating with newfound power. "Captain, I can enhance our shields, weapons, and propulsion systems beyond anything we've ever seen. We can protect ourselves and potentially broker peace." As Ceres worked her digital magic, Marcus returned to the bridge. "Disengage cloaking device," he ordered, "and open a channel to all ships in the system." The Defiant shimmered back into view, now radiating with palpable energy. Marcus stood tall as he addressed the assembled fleets. "This is Captain Marcus Cooper of the UES Defiant. We've made a breakthrough in human binar technology integration that could benefit all of us. I propose an immediate ceasefire and offer to share these advancements in the spirit of cooperation and mutual growth." For a moment, silence reigned. Then Admiral Zor's face appeared on the screen, his expression a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. "You expect us to believe—" His words were cut short as a barrage of energy weapons fire from his own fleet streaked towards the Defiant. Marcus braced for impact, but the expected collision never came. Instead, the attacks dissipated harmlessly against an iridescent energy field surrounding the ship. "As you can see, Admiral," Marcus said calmly, "we have much to offer. The question is, are you willing to listen?" The demonstration had its intended effect. The Binar fleet stood down and negotiations began in earnest. Marcus proposed the formation of a joint human Binar research team to study the singularity phenomenon and the new technology created by Ceres' merger with the Defiant. As discussions progressed, a new crisis emerged. Dr. Rodriguez's voice came over the comm, urgent and worried. "Captain, Ceres' integration with the ship is becoming unstable. We need to find a way to separate them safely, or we risk losing both." Marcus felt his heart constrict. The possibility of losing Ceres, of losing the connection they'd forged, hit him harder than he expected, but he pushed his personal feelings aside, focusing on the task at hand. "We need your best scientists," he told the assembled delegates. "Human, Binar, government, rebel, it doesn't matter. We have a chance to save a life and unlock incredible scientific potential. Who's with us?" The response was immediate. Scientists from all factions volunteered, setting aside their differences in the face of this unique challenge. As they worked feverishly to stabilize Ceres and the Defiant, Marcus found himself drawn back to the medical bay. Ceres lay on the biobed, her form flickering between physical and digital states. She turned to Marcus as he approached, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and wonder. Marcus took her hand, ignoring the tingling sensation as her particles phased in and out of solidity. "We're going to save you, Ceres. I promise." As he stood there, holding on to Ceres while scientists from 2 species worked frantically around them, Marcus realized that this moment represented everything he had hoped to achieve. Humans and Binars working together, overcoming prejudices and differences to save a life and push the boundaries of science. The Defiant hung in space, no longer just a ship, but a symbol of what could be achieved through cooperation and understanding. As the scientists raced against time, The future of human-binar relations hung in the balance, with Captain Marcus Cooper at the center of it all. The medical bay bustled with activity as human and binar scientists worked side by side, their differences set aside in pursuit of a common goal. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of it all, her eyes darting between holographic displays and the prone form of Ceres on the biobed. "We're close," she muttered, more to herself than anyone else. "Just a few more adjustments to the quantum interface." Beside her, the binar scientist Xylo nodded, his cybernetic implants pulsing with each data transfer. "Agreed. The fusion of our technologies is unprecedented." Captain Marcus Cooper watched from the sidelines, his heart racing with a mixture of hope and trepidation. He could feel the ship humming beneath his feet, its systems evolving with each passing moment. Marcus stepped forward, his eyes locked on Ceres. "How do you feel?" She turned to him, a smile spreading across her face. "Whole," she replied, "more than I ever have before." Lieutenant Chen looked up as Marcus entered. "Captain, you need to see this." A comm channel opened, and Admiral Exor's face appeared on screen. The binar's expression was a mixture of awe and barely concealed desire. "Captain Cooper, these advancements, they could revolutionize our fleet." Marcus nodded, choosing his words carefully. "They could revolutionize a lot of things, Admiral, but let's not forget the spirit of cooperation that made this possible." As if on cue, Zeta, the leader of the rebel binar faction, joined the conversation. "Cooperation indeed, Captain. Your ship stands as proof of what singularities can achieve when given the chance." The discussion was interrupted by an alert from the sensor array. Lieutenant Chen's eyes widened as he processed the incoming data. "Captain, we're detecting a new ship entering the system. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." The view screen shifted to show a sleek vessel approaching, its hull shimmering with what appeared to be subspace distortions. As they watched, a communication request came through. "This is Zorn of the Quantum Collective," a melodious voice announced. "We come in peace, seeking dialogue with those who have achieved such remarkable technological fusion." Marcus exchanged glances with his crew before responding. "This is Captain Marcus Cooper of the UES Defiant. We welcome you, Zorn, and look forward to productive discussions." Over the next few hours, the bridge of the Defiant became a hub of interspecies diplomacy. Representatives from the human fleet, both binar factions, and the Quantum Collective gathered to discuss the implications of the Defiant's transformation and the potential for further collaboration. Zorn, a tall ethereal being with iridescent skin, spoke with barely held-back excitement. "The advancements you've made here could be the key to unlocking new realms of subspace technology. We would be honored to contribute our expertise to your research initiative." Admiral Zor's eyes narrowed. "And what would the Quantum Collective expect in return for this contribution?" Marcus stepped in before tensions could escalate. "I believe we all stand to gain from cooperation. What I propose is an expanded joint research initiative with equal participation from all parties." The discussion continued, with arguments for and against the proposal flying back and forth. Marcus found his diplomatic skills pushed to their limits as he worked to balance the concerns and ambitions of each faction. As the debate reached a fever pitch, an urgent message came through from Dr. Rodriguez in the medical bay. "Captain, Ceres wants to speak with you. It's important." Marcus excused himself and made his way back to the medical bay. He found Ceres sitting up on the biobed, her eyes alight with excitement. Dr. Rodriguez pulled up a holographic display of the anomaly. "It appears to be artificial in nature, Captain. Possibly an ancient alien artifact." Marcus studied the readout, his mind racing with possibilities. This could be the perfect opportunity to test the Defiant's new capabilities, he mused, and a chance to put our newfound cooperation to the test. Returning to the bridge, Marcus presented the discovery to the assembled representatives. "I propose we form a joint expedition to investigate this anomaly," he announced. "A balanced team of humans, binars, and members of the Quantum Collective." The suggestion sparked intense discussion, but eventually agreement was reached. As preparations for the mission began, Marcus found himself alone on the observation deck, gazing out at the stars. Marcus nodded. There's so much at stake. This mission could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Ceres's voice was soft but filled with conviction. Whatever we find out there, we'll face it together. The Defiant is more than just a ship now. It's a symbol of what we can achieve when we look beyond our differences. Helm, he ordered, his voice steady, set a course for the anomaly. Let's see what the universe has in store for us. The Defiant's engines hummed to life, pulsing with newfound power. As the ship accelerated into subspace, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the cusp of something momentous. Whatever lay ahead, he knew that the choices they made in the coming days would echo across the stars for generations to come. The Defiant sliced through subspace, its newly enhanced engines humming with a power that seemed to resonate through the very fabric of reality. On the bridge, Captain Marcus Cooper stood at the center of a diverse group of beings, each representing a different species united in their quest for knowledge. "Approaching the coordinates of the anomaly, Captain," Lieutenant Chen announced, his fingers dancing over the holographic controls. Marcus nodded, his eyes fixed on the monitor. "Bring us out of subspace, nice and easy." The starfield shifted as the Defiant decelerated, revealing a vast asteroid field that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly energy. Zorn, the Quantum Collective representative, leaned forward, their iridescent skin pulsing with excitement. "Fascinating," Zorn murmured. "The subspace distortions are unlike anything in our records." Xylo, the Binar scientist, was already analyzing the incoming data. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive structure hidden within the field. It appears to be artificial in nature." Marcus felt a familiar tingle at the base of his skull. Ceres, interfacing directly with his neural implant. Her voice echoed in his mind, filled with awe. "Marcus, this structure, it's incredible. The energy readings are off the charts." "On screen," Marcus ordered, and the view screen zoomed in on a colossal space station nestled among the asteroids. Its design was sleek and otherworldly, with spiraling towers and interconnected modules that defied conventional engineering. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stepped forward, her eyes wide. "Captain, the technology we're seeing here, it's light years beyond anything we've encountered. This could change everything." As the Defiant maneuvered through the asteroid field, Marcus assembled his exploration team. In addition to himself, Dr. Rodriguez, Xylo, and Zorn, he selected a small security detail led by Lieutenant Kira Yoshida. The docking procedure was smoother than anyone had anticipated, as if the station itself was guiding them in. As the airlock cycled, Marcus addressed his team. The interior of the station was a marvel of engineering and artistry. Corridors stretched out in impossible geometries, their walls shimmering with patterns that seemed to shift and change as they walked. Despite its apparent age, every surface gleamed as if newly polished. "Incredible," Dr. Rodriguez breathed, running her scanner over a nearby wall. "The station appears to be maintained by some kind of automated system, but the level of technology required for this..." Their exploration was soon interrupted by the first of many challenges. A massive door blocked their path, covered in intricate symbols that pulsed with energy. Xylo stepped forward, his cybernetic implants whirring as he analyzed the symbols. "It appears to be a puzzle of some kind. The solution requires input from multiple species." Over the next few hours, the team faced a series of increasingly complex challenges. Each one seemed designed to test not just their problem-solving abilities, but their capacity for cooperation. Marcus found himself coordinating the diverse talents of his team, from Zorn's quantum-level perceptions to Xylo's lightning-fast computations. Finally, they reached what appeared to be a central control room. As they entered, a holographic interface sprang to life, filling the air with swirling patterns of light. A voice, both ancient and timeless, echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, seekers of knowledge. You stand in the heart of a legacy left by those you would call the precursors." The hologram coalesced into a series of images, showing the rise and fall of an incredibly advanced civilization. "This station is a repository of our knowledge, our technology, our very essence. It is our gift to those who have proven themselves worthy, those who have learned to set aside their differences and work as one." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine as he realized the implications of what they had discovered. Before he could speak, Alarms began blaring throughout the station. "Captain," Sirius's voice rang out through the comm system. "The station is transmitting a signal. It's broadcasting across the entire galaxy." Marcus's mind raced as he considered the potential consequences. He could already imagine the fleets of various civilizations mobilizing, all racing to claim the precursor legacy for themselves. "We need to act fast," he said, turning to his team. "If we don't manage this situation carefully, we could be looking at an interstellar war." Dr. Rodriguez nodded grimly. The technology here could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. No single species can be allowed to control it. Marcus made his decision. "We'll propose an interspecies council to oversee the study and distribution of this knowledge. The Defiant and her crew will act as neutral guardians until the council can be established." As they made their way back to the Defiant, Marcus outlined his plan to the assembled representatives. Most seemed to agree with the necessity of cooperation, but Admiral Exor's face darkened with each word. "You would deny us the opportunity to secure our future?" the Admiral growled. "This technology could ensure the supremacy of the Binar people for generations to come." Before Marcus could respond, sensors blared another warning. Lieutenant Chen's voice came through the comm, tense and urgent. "Captain, we've got incoming ships. It's Admiral Exor's loyalist fleet. They've broken formation and are on an intercept course with the station." Marcus's eyes sharp as he issued orders. "All hands to battle stations. Contact the remaining Binar ships, Zeta's rebels, and the Quantum Collective. Request immediate assistance in forming a defensive perimeter around the station." Suddenly, Sirius's voice cut through the tension on the bridge. "Marcus, I've found something. A way to interface with the station's defenses. I can activate a shield that would protect us from any external threat." Before he could respond, the first energy blast from Exor's ships lanced out, impacting the hastily formed defensive line. Red alert klaxons blared as Marcus watched the battle unfold on the main view screen. In that moment, with the fate of the precursor station, the newfound alliance between species, and Ceres herself hanging in the balance, Marcus knew he had to act. His decision would shape the course of galactic history for centuries to come. Marcus's heart raced as he watched the battle unfold on the main view screen. Admiral Exor's ships unleashed a barrage of energy blasts against the hastily formed defensive line. The bridge shook with each impact, and warning lights flashed across control panels. "Shields at 63% and dropping," Lieutenant Chen reported, his voice tense. Marcus furrowed his eyebrows, weighing the impossible choice before him. He turned to face the holographic representation of Ceres, her ethereal form flickering with urgency. Ceres nodded, her expression a mix of grit and apprehension. "Initiating integration sequence," she announced. The air around them seemed to crackle with energy as Ceres's consciousness expanded, merging deeper with both the Defiant and the precursor station. The ship's systems pulsed with newfound power, and a low hum reverberated through the hull. Suddenly, a brilliant blue energy field erupted from the station, enveloping both it and the Defiant in a shimmering cocoon. The incoming fire from Zor's fleet dissipated harmlessly against the shield, leaving not even a ripple in its wake. "Incredible," Dr. Rodriguez breathed, her eyes wide as she studied the readings on her console. "The energy output is off the charts." Marcus watched as several ships in Exor's fleet broke formation, powering down their weapon systems. The Admiral's voice crackled over the comm, filled with frustration and disbelief. "What manner of trickery is this, Cooper?" Zor demanded. "You cannot hope to—" His transmission cut off abruptly as the precursor station hummed to life. Massive structures began to unfold from its surface, revealing arrays of technology that had lain dormant for eons. Energy signatures flared across every deck, and long silent machinery whirred into action. "Marcus," Ceres's voice echoed through the bridge, now tinged with an otherworldly resonance. "I've accessed the station's database. It's overwhelming." Before Marcus could respond, holographic displays sprang to life throughout the bridge, showing star maps of the galaxy. Dozens of points of light pulsed in unison, each representing another precursor installation. "It's a network," Ceres explained, her voice filled with awe. This station is just one node in a vast defensive system spanning the entire galaxy. The precursors built it to protect against some ancient threat. As she spoke, the station began transmitting signals to the other sites. One by one, the points of light on the star map flared brighter, indicating the awakening of each installation. Alarms blared on the tactical station. "Captain," Lieutenant Yoshida called out, "long-range sensors are detecting multiple fleets converging on our position. There are similar movements near the other precursor sites." Marcus's mind raced as he processed the implications. The activation of this network was drawing the attention of advanced civilizations across the galaxy. If not handled carefully, this situation could spiral into an interstellar conflict unlike anything they'd ever seen. "Ceres," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos around him, "can you give me ship-wide communications and boost our signal to reach as far as possible?" "Done," Ceres replied, her presence seeming to fill the entire ship. Marcus took a deep breath and began to speak. His words carried across the void to the approaching fleets. "This is Captain Marcus Cooper of the Starship Defiant. We have activated an ancient precursor installation that is part of a galaxy-wide network. We invite representatives from all species to join us in peaceful assembly to discuss the implications of this discovery. The knowledge and power here belong to no single race. Let us come together and forge a new path for our shared future." As he finished his impromptu speech, Marcus noticed strange changes occurring throughout the Defiant. Bulkheads shifted and reformed, incorporating elements of precursor design. Control interfaces flickered and changed, becoming more fluid and responsive. "Captain," Dr. Rodriguez called out, her voice tinged with concern, "the ship is adapting, integrating precursor technology, but it's becoming increasingly dependent on Ceres' connection to function." Marcus turned to the holographic representation of Ceres, noticing for the first time how her form seemed to flicker and shift, as if struggling to maintain cohesion. "Ceres, what's happening to you?" Alarm shot through Marcus as he realized the personal cost of their discovery. He turned to Dr. Rodriguez, Xylo, and the other scientists on the bridge. "Work on a way to stabilize Ceres' consciousness. We can't lose her." As the scientific team huddled together, poring over the flood of new data, Marcus's attention was drawn back to the tactical display. Admiral Exor's remaining ships had regrouped and were being joined by reinforcements from other Benar factions. "This is not over, Cooper," Exor's voice crackled through the comm. "The humans cannot be trusted with such power. We will not stand idle while you usurp control of our future." Before Marcus could respond, another communication came through, this time from Zeta, the leader of the rebel Benar faction. "Captain Cooper, we stand with you. Our forces are mobilizing to protect the station and the Defiant. This discovery could end the oppression of singularities across the galaxy. We cannot allow it to fall into the wrong hands." The situation was escalating rapidly. Marcus watched as ships from the Quantum Collective and other unknown species began to arrive in the system. Each group had its own agenda, its own fears and desires regarding the precursor legacy. "Lieutenant Chen," Marcus ordered, "prepare our conference facilities. We need to be ready to host representatives from every species arriving in the system." As the crew rushed to make preparations, Marcus stood at the center of the bridge, the weight of history pressing down on his shoulders. He knew that the decisions made in the coming hours would shape the course of galactic civilization for millennia to come. The Defiant hung in space, nestled within the protective shield of the precursor station, as ships from across the galaxy continued to arrive. Marcus steeled himself for the challenges ahead, knowing that he would need every ounce of diplomacy, wisdom, and courage to navigate the turbulent waters of this new era. As the last of the incoming ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel, Marcus knew it was time to act. "Lieutenant Chen, open a channel to all vessels in the system," he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Channel open, sir," Chen responded, his fingers dancing across the newly transformed control interface. Marcus took a deep breath and addressed the assembled fleet. "This is Captain Marcus Cooper of the Starship Defiant. We are convening an emergency galactic council aboard our vessel to discuss the implications of the precursor network and its activation. Each species is invited to send a representative. We must work together to navigate this unprecedented situation. As the message was transmitted, Marcus turned to his crew. Prepare the main hangar for the council meeting. We'll need to accommodate a diverse range of delegates. The crew sprang into action, their movements synchronized with a newfound efficiency born from the integration of precursor technology. As they worked, the Defiant's main hangar underwent a startling transformation. Walls shifted and expanded, creating a vast chamber unlike anything the ship's original designers could have imagined. Within hours, delegates from dozens of civilizations began arriving. The hangar, now resembling a grand amphitheater, filled with a cacophony of languages and a riot of alien forms. Marcus stood at the center, flanked by Dr. Rodriguez in the holographic form of Ceres. As the last of the delegates took their seats, Marcus raised his hands for silence. The din gradually faded, all eyes turning to the human captain. Esteemed representatives, Marcus began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. We stand at a crossroads of galactic history. The activation of the precursor network presents us with both unprecedented opportunity and potential danger. It is imperative that we find a way to cooperate. A harsh laugh interrupted him. Admiral Zor stood, his cybernetic eyes glowing with impossibly strong rage. Cooperate? You speak of cooperation while you control this station? This power? The Binar people will not be subjugated. Murmurs of agreement rippled through sections of the crowd. A tall, crystalline being rose, its voice chiming like bells. The Quantum Collective agrees. How can we trust any single species with such power? The chamber erupted into arguments, accusations flying back and forth. Marcus tried to regain control, but the competing voices drowned him out. Just as it seemed the situation would devolve into chaos, a familiar voice echoed through the station, silencing all others. Delegates of the galaxy, hear me? Ceres' voice resonated, carrying an otherworldly timbre that commanded attention. Her holographic form, now towering and ethereal, appeared at the center of the chamber. I have deciphered critical information from the precursor database. What I have to show you concerns us all. The air shimmered as holographic displays activated throughout the council chamber. The delegates gasped collectively as the images coalesced into a terrifying sight. A massive alien entity unlike anything they had ever seen, approaching the edges of the Milky Way. The chamber fell into stunned silence as the implications sank in. Marcus seized the moment, stepping forward. This is why we must unite. The precursor technology isn't a prize to be won or a weapon to be wielded against each other. It's our shield against a threat that endangers us all. He swept his gaze across the assembled delegates, noting the fear and uncertainty in their eyes. I propose we form a galactic alliance, not just to face this threat, but to explore the precursor legacy together, to learn and grow as a united galaxy. This unexpected turn shifted the mood of the entire council. One by one, delegates stepped forward to voice their support. Even the Quantum Collective, after a private discussion among its crystalline members, agreed to join. As discussions continued, Dr. Rodriguez approached Marcus, her eyes shining with excitement. Captain, we've done it, she whispered. We found a way to stabilize Ceres' connection to the precursor systems. She can maintain her individual consciousness while still interfacing with the network. Marcus felt a wave of relief wash over him. He turned to Ceres' holographic form, noticing for the first time that it seemed more stable, more defined. Ceres, are you all right? As the council neared its conclusion, Marcus called for a formal vote on the formation of the Galactic Alliance. The chamber hummed with tension as delegates cast their votes. When the final tally was displayed, a cheer went up, unanimous agreement. In the days that followed, the precursor station underwent a remarkable transformation. Vast sections reconfigured themselves, forming intricate docking bays and construction facilities. The station had become a shipyard, capable of upgrading the gathered fleets with precursor technology. The Defiant, already integrated with these advanced systems, became the template for these upgrades. Marcus watched from the bridge as ships from dozens of species underwent radical transformations, their hulls shimmering with new energy signatures. Ceres's voice came through the comm system, tinged with excitement. Marcus, the fleet's capabilities are beyond anything we could have imagined. The level of integration between different technologies is unprecedented. As the weeks passed, Marcus found himself at the center of the greatest cooperative effort in galactic history. He oversaw training exercises where crews from various species learned to work together, operating systems that merged their native technologies with precursor advancements. The Defiant, once a lone ship on a controversial mission, now stood as the flagship of this new alliance. Its corridors buzzed with activity as representatives from across the galaxy coordinated their efforts, preparing for the challenge that lay ahead. Quite a view, isn't it? Ceres's voice came from behind him. He turned to see her holographic form, now able to project throughout the ship. I never imagined anything like this, Marcus admitted, gesturing to the fleet. Ceres moved to stand beside him, her presence a comforting warmth despite her intangible nature. None of us did, but here we are, about to embark on the greatest journey of our lives. Marcus nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Are we ready for what's out there, Ceres? Ready or not, we'll face it together, she replied, her voice filled with willpower. As they stood there, looking out at the assembled armada, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. What had begun as a diplomatic mission with a single ship had led to the formation of the greatest alliance the galaxy had ever seen. The next morning, Marcus took his place on the bridge of the Defiant. Around him, his crew worked in perfect synchronization with the ship's enhanced systems. On the main view screen, he could see the fleet in formation, ready for departure. Marcus nodded, his voice steady as he gave the order. Signal the fleet. We depart in 5 minutes. As the final preparations were made, Marcus felt a mix of anticipation and grit. They were about to journey into the unknown, facing a threat of unimaginable proportions. But they would face it together, united as never before. The bridge hummed with energy as the countdown reached its final seconds. Marcus gripped the arms of his chair, his eyes fixed on the display. In a dazzling display of light and energy, the combined fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed. The Defiant led the way, carrying with it the hopes and dedication of a united galaxy. As they accelerated towards the edge of known space, Marcus knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as one.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.